Town Council meets tonight. We get details about what's on the agenda from Town Council President Jessica Rapp-Grassetti on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, November 6th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mantle.
Big meeting coming up, lots of presentations. So let's start by talking a little bit about the presentations that are going to be before Council this evening.
Well, after we have the communication from elected officials and boards and committees, we're going to be adopting the Town Council strategic plan of FY15, and that was the Town Council's plan that we put our heads together on a Saturday session, and came up with a rewrite of the strategic plan, so that I'll be asking for adoption of that. And next we have the Department of Public Works Director, Daniel Santos, and he'll give a capital project update on all the public works projects that have been appropriated, the funding for FY15, and see where we are in that process.
Great.
And then we'll be getting a preview of e-permitting, which is by the company Viewpoint.
Great.
We do have an appropriation order for over $211,000 to implement Viewpoint's e-permitting for the town of Barnstable. And I think we're going to be seeing a sample of what it's like to go through the process to get a building permit using the online permitting process. So that's very exciting. I know this is one of the councils under their strategic plan, under our strategic plan, to implement e-permitting as soon as possible. So looking forward to that.
Great.
And then we have our annual presentation by the Director of Finance, Mark Milne, and Director of Assessing, Jeff Rudzniak, and they'll be doing a presentation on the tax classification, and that's the three items that are on our agenda with regards to the tax classification, the tax factor, and the residential exemption. And these won't be heard in their public hearings that are going to be referred to on the 20th of November. And the last one, is small commercial exemptions. So there are 3 tax votes that need to be taken. So I thought it would be helpful to have Mark Milne and Jeff Rudzniak come and do their presentation, and then have the council have a couple of weeks to digest that information, because there's a lot of information that's presented during that time.
There really is. And of course, it's an annual discussion, but as we know, property rates fluctuate and things change, and Mark always does a really fantastic job of making such a complicated subject clear and easy to understand, but certainly an important decision that the council has to make every year.
That's right. And then we get into the orders of the day and the old business. We have a town council rule change, a change in the order of business, and changing the town manager communications to a little further into the up into the meeting, so it's not at the very end of the meeting, just so that town manager can respond to perhaps some council or public comment and some issues raised by councilors. Have that communication ahead of time, rather than at the very end when everybody's tired and wants to go home. So
exactly.
I think he can present some valuable information. So.
Wonderful.
That came out of the strategic planning session, wanting to hear from the town manager early in the game. So that's a simple, not a public hearing, but simple, maybe acted upon.
Great.
And then, as I said, we have the appropriation order for e-permitting.
Great, and of course the presentation Viewpoint will have made the presentation earlier in the meeting, so everyone will be well informed before either speaking at public hearing or making that final decision. That's right.
And the permitting item is also a public hearing. And then we have the appropriation order of $25,000 for the initial environmental assessment at the West Barnstable shooting range, and that's going to be provided from the general fund's free cash, which has been certified. And this study will determine the distribution of lead contamination in the soils at the shooting range, and the estimated cost to clean up the range, and the cost to develop a safe and modern shooting range, if that's how the vote takes with regards to that project. So,
Right.
that's important because everybody knows that's been a shooting range for many, many years, and very little has been done to remove any of the soils from the land. So we want to get a baseline of what we're up against there. So.
Absolutely, very important indeed.
The next is also a public hearing and roll call, and that's to see if the town council will amend the general ordinances by adding a new chapter 78 on fertilizer. And I think there's been with the 208 plan with regards to nutrification.
Right.
Fertilizers have been the target of and high, which contain phosphorus and nitrogen, has been a target for diminishing those as far as to protect our water and to keep our bays, embayments, and whatnot clean. So this will go to organize and educate a system on the certification and standardization and regulation of practice of applying fertilizers. And it's not intended to eliminate fertilizers, so we're not saying have all your grass turn brown, and but to be educated on how to apply it, when to apply it, so that we can prevent the excess amount from reaching our water and groundwater.
Absolutely, a very important discussion indeed. Of course, the 208 plan and really water quality and water protection, one of the major issues here on the Cape right now.
That's right, yeah. So the Citizens Advisory Committee has been working diligently on this, and I know all the towns on the Cape are looking at this, so I'm hoping this will be adopted by the town as well. So. The next is, and this is new business to refer to a public hearing, appropriation order of $90,000 from the Sandy Neck Enterprise account surplus for the Sandy Neck Dune Nourishment Program. And, these nor'easters really batter our north side, and especially the Sandy Neck parking lot has been, and septic field, they've been compromised in the past, and over the years we've put in thousands of yards of sand, which we quickly see go away. So
right.
Without additional sand placement, we'd have storm damage to our parking lot that is extremely costly to repair. So this is being proactive in getting some sand nourishment in those areas for stabilization.
Absolutely. And then appointments to boards, committees, and commissions, first reading for that.
That's right. And then, as I said, and then they refer to public hearing the three tax levies, the tax factor, the
Yep.
residential, and the small commercial exemption. Those will be all for continued to a public hearing. And then we have an acceptance of a community preservation land and easement conveyance and grant of conservation restrictions for the Cape Cod Rail Trail extension right away from Yarmouth Town Line to Independence Drive and Hyannis. And this has been a project in the making for many, many years. There's been over $8 million of air quality mitigation dollars, or so-called CMAQ funds, set aside for the construction of this project, which is an extension of the rail trail. And it's the intention to someday be able to take your bike from the bridge in Bourne all the way down to Provincetown on a safe way.